Mm-hmm. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's 8:15 in the morning. It's the 23rd of February 2021, and I'll be here doing an update on Bitcoin, doing an update on the S&P 500, and doing an update on NASDAQ. Good to see you guys on here this morning. I'm going to be taking a look at a few things here. I'm going to start with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's the asset that is actively trading right now. It never stops. Then I'm going to move my way over into the S&P and move my way into a NASDAQ. I'm not going to be taking a look at alts right now. And I mean, if you're on the Discord server, you know that I cashed out of all of my alt positions a couple days ago. And especially, after what happened yesterday, I was like, this bounce is a good opportunity to exit alts. I didn't really expect the stock market to drop as much as it did overnight, but we're going to take a look at that as well. We're taking a look at this from an Elliott wave perspective because, we've got a pretty deep drop. So, we've got to take a look at this from a from a higher time frame perspective. So this is where Elliott wave is really going to help us out. Before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion on the market. Sebastian, if I've got time at the end, I will take a look at Reef. All right, so let's move on into the chart. All right, so this is Bitcoin. So first off, we have had a pretty steep correction. I think we can all agree that. In my opinion, it happened pretty quick. If you watched my video yesterday, 24 hours ago, I said that we would have a deeper correction, but I wasn't expecting it this soon. I do have a couple people on the server that did short here at the 618. I'm not sure if they got stopped out because it did go a little bit above that, but I want to talk about this play here. I want to talk about this because something happened and it's important. And of course, as per usual, I was not at my desk. I was not at the charts when this happened. So hindsight's always 20/20, but this would have been something to pay close attention to. I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. But looking at our primary count, we are still very valid here, right? Still looking from this bottom over here at, under 30,000, right? 1, ABC 2, 1, ABC 2, right? So we've got a nice 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is done. Finishing the 3, which means we should be going down here into the 4. This 4 is going to be moving around, okay? As long as it doesn't violate this level here, which is at about 38,700, we're still okay. And that level actually is, about 38,630, somewhere around there. As long as it doesn't violate that, this count is still very good. This count is still very good. Which means, potentially we have bottomed out. What I'm starting to see a lot of people talking about a retest of 42,000. And I believe it'll happen, but I don't believe it's going to happen today or tomorrow. Now, if it does, would I be a buyer down here in this green box? Yeah, I would be. I'll pull this guy out. That's the 618 of this move that I've measured from this wave 2 to this extended wave 3. That would be the 618 right there. at about 42,000, 42,100. That would be the 618. Okay, I know I've got a lot going on over here, but let's just bear with me for a moment. I'm going to drill down into a lower time frame here in a second. Because again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, and then we're working on this 4. I mean, potentially it's in. And let me talk about why I think this could be in. Well, one, this wave 2 happened, this also happened pretty quick, right? This happened over the course of a little over 2 days, 2 days, 3 hours. How long have we been in this wave 4? About 1 day, 18 hours. So the timing for a wave 4 usually lasts longer than the timing for a wave 2. But all in all, we've been in this correction for almost 2 days now. And then this correction for wave 2 lasted about 2 days. So I think we're okay here. Let me drill down into a 15-minute time frame because I want to show you guys what potentially has just happened here. All right, so we had this pull down. Let me get rid of this guy here for a moment. Let's focus on just this move. I'm going to get rid of this right here. I'm even going to get rid of this red box, okay? So what we had there, pull this guy up here to the very top just to try and peg it right here all the way to the very top. We pulled down here to the very bottom. We had a couple people on the server that shorted here at the 618 to the 65. Now again, not sure if they got stopped up because this did go a little bit higher. It didn't get to the 786, but it did go a little bit higher. But on these moves, and I've said this many times, you should always look for that negative 236. Always look for the negative 236 for a reaction. And look at what happened. All right, so that negative 236 is at 44,814.28. And we got down to 44,845.72. So we were off by about $60. So that was like barely any that we were off down here. We were so close to hitting that. It was, it was almost perfect. And I'm on arithmetic scale. So let me move into logarithmic here for a moment. Let's see where this, it tagged, went a little bit deeper, but it tagged that 236. And that on the log scale would have been at 45,129. And here we are at 48, right? So I'm cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin that we have potentially created a short-term bottom here. So we've got from up there, we've got an A, a B, and then this C down here. Now, I'm not ready to call this the completion for wave 4 because really wave 4 usually lasts longer than wave 2, not less time. So putting the time and geometry into all of this, I think that it is possible that we correct. And maybe what could possibly be happening here, let's just move this guy down. I'm on log scale. You can see we've already seen a reaction here at the 382. If we push above that, again, I'm interested to see what happens here at the 50. At 51,158, do I think that we do go up from here? Yeah, I do think that we probably will. If we happen to do something like this, where we see this, we see a nice chop here, a nice chop here, and then we get up here. My opinion is we could be coming back down, but I think this opens the door up to go back up. That's one scenario. We'll call this the green scenario. This is the bullish scenario. All right, but now let's work on the bearish scenario. Okay, I'm going to pull this over to the right a little bit. So looking for, another reaction there at the 382, and then we get up here to the 50. All right, and looking left, what do we have there? We've got all of this prior support, which potentially could be resistance. So if we get something like this go on, then I think that we see prices droop over and fall further. All right, giving it some time. We'll call that our red scenario. So we've got a green scenario for a recovery. We've got a red scenario for a fade. All right, so you have to have both of these scenarios in mind. And if we do see that faded move, I do think we are going to see 42,000, 42,150. That's going to be right at the top of the box. And basically, what this is, that's going to be that negative 236 again. All right. So watch these negative 236. When you see an internal retracement, look for the extension. That's exactly what just happened here, right? So we weren't here for this trade to go to buy down here. But if we do see it come down again, I would be a buyer at 42,149, 42,150, somewhere in that range. Let me go to an hourly time frame. All right. So again, we've got a lot. We've been monitoring this. Again, this is obviously done. This wave 4 is obviously complete. I don't think we're going to be coming anywhere near down here. We could cut a little bit deeper into this, right? Depending on what happens, if we do come down here, I would still be a spot buyer at 42,150. That's where I'd be a spot buyer. And that would be a perfect retest of this high. Now, the bigger question is, are we going to get there? Nobody knows. Nobody on YouTube, nobody is going to be able to tell you with any amount of certainty that we are going to get to 42,150 to do a retest of this high. What I can say is that there's a whole lot of people that are talking about it. A whole lot of people that are talking about a retest. Technically, this is how it could happen. And when I say technically, I mean using Fibonacci, using technical analysis, this is how we can see a retest of that high that we had over here. This is how it can happen technically, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen because we've already hit a negative 236 extension right there at 44,850. We hit that perfectly, right? We've already talked about that. We've hit that perfectly. So is this a wave 4? I don't know. I don't know. I tend to believe that we are not done with this wave 4. And more than likely, what is probably going to end up happening here is we're going to see something that's going to mimic a lot of chop. So we see a nice A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. I've been talking about this chopping likely late March to early April. So if this is a big wave 4 that we are in, well, this ABC is just going to be wave A. Okay, so potentially, like obviously there is not enough price action here to say that this is what's happening. A, B, C, D, E, and then we go up, right? So the timing here isn't right because I was expecting there to be a move up at the end of March and at the beginning of April. So it could be that we just hang around here for a long time. There are options that are at play here on Bitcoin, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit for these guys to get, to get demolished from theta decay. So, are we going to be entering a big, long, triangular phase here? I mean, it's very possible that this guy will just sit here and chop for a month. This low would have to hold at 44,850. You're going to see the price coming back down here. People saying, all right, this is the time we're going to be getting that retest of 42,150, and it's not going to happen. Alts are somewhat safe here if we do end up doing this sideways chop. Okay? So just kind of putting that in perspective, there is an opportunity for alts to perform better than Bitcoin up here. And actually, Bitcoin at these prices would indicate that there is little upside ahead, but it's still very possible that this guy does move up and we'll see our upside target, which we've been talking about this at about 68,000. That would complete wave 3. That would complete our orange wave 3, which again is our major wave 3 of this move up, right? So we've got this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 for however long this happens. Then we go up for 5. But I do think that there is little upside here. I'm on log scale. So watching this 3618 right here, that should be the completion, which is going to be at 66,350. So that's what I'm thinking for Bitcoin. All right, let's move into the S&P 500. Because this guy pulled back pretty significant. He also went to this negative 236 extension. All right, so he also went down here. And again, this is where I tagged the bottom, right there at 38.45. And where did we go? We went to 38.40. All right, The stop loss is going to be sitting right down here at 38.35. Now, we are still in this buy zone right now. I have to take this trade. As much as it hurts, I have to take this trade because I'm going to be removing some stuff on here because this chart looks like hot garbage right now. But let me remove this guy here, and I'm going to also remove this fib pull because we know that that went to that negative 236. You know, the interesting thing is I was discussing this on the Discord yesterday, and I said, you know what, we're probably going to get that drop, and it's probably going to happen at 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody's asleep. And that is actually exactly what happened. This thing started at 3 o'clock in the morning. It started at 3 o'clock in the morning. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, bam, 3 o'clock in the morning, there it goes. It fell, it fell, it fell for 3 solid hours, and it's bouncing right now. Okay, so this low has to hold. If we violate this low, I'm pulling the circuit breaker and I'm out. Right now, okay, so for any of you that are on watching this video that are on the Discord server, the trades that we are in, if they're not going to be stopped out at the open, there's no use in selling them right now. No use in selling them right now. I'm going to wait and see if this low down here holds, because this is, you know, this is where we were actually looking to take our trade on SPXL and our trades on QQQ, which I'm going to be taking a look at that here in a minute just to see where we're at on there. This is honestly, this is the first time I've looked at this chart since this morning, because I mean, you can obviously see I was talking about another move up before we fell, and we kind of rolled already. So let's just go ahead and do this. So this A, B, C, we're going to call this the C. Whoops, let's not move that guy. We'll call this the C right here to complete this C right here to complete this 4 right here. All right. So we're obviously at a very critical level. We could come all the way down here to 38.35. That is our level where we pull the circuit breaker and we get out of positions. Right now we're sitting on top of prior resistance. It's encouraging. This low right here also hit these levels of resistance as well. So this level is, you know, it actually looks okay to be buying. It actually looks okay to be buying to me. You know, taking a look at this big A, pull back to the B. Actually, this is not 100% accurate. Let's move this guy right there. Okay, the 100% is sitting there at the bottom of this guy here, 38.53, which we are currently trading above right now. You know, we did overextend a little bit. We didn't hit the 1,236. So I'm still willing to take that trade, and that's in the charts to watch channel, and I'll be talking about this trade here in a little bit. But this is an area where I am interested in buying. One thing I don't like, okay, I would have liked this to take a couple more days, as I discussed yesterday. The reason why I really would have liked for this to take a couple more days is because you've got this, the 12-hour, the 1 hour, and the 3 hour that are getting down there, but this 12 hours still has a little ways to go. I would have really, really loved for all 3 of these to be down and oversold at the same time, and we may get that today. And again, I will be very interested in buying down here if that does happen, because you know, the last time we saw all 3 in oversold, really the closest thing that we got was right here. And it looks actually very similar to what it looks like right now. Okay, and again, just to rehash that, we had this A, B, C, okay? And we had all 3 of them pretty close, not quite there. I would say it looks very similar right now as it did back then. I would say it looks very similar. Now, notice how quickly we pulled up and out of there. We would need to see that today. We need to see that today. Otherwise, we are going to go lower. I'm actually going to be looking for longs based on what I see here, based on the price action. It does look like this correction is near complete. It does look like the correction is near complete here. And the waves indicator is indicating that it is getting very close. Let's just see if we can go back in the history and see if we can find the last time that all 3 of these were in oversold at the same time. I guess here's another one where they were close and we bounced up and out. But I need to see where all 3 we're in oversold at the same time. And it has been a long time. Here we go. All right. Yeah, yeah, right down here where we had bounce, bounce, bounce. So this is basically where we're calling our 1, 2 at the end of October. At the end of October, we had, I tend to believe that we may actually be right here. So this is why I'm being cautious, but I think that the trade is good enough to attempt. This obviously would have been a pretty good play down here to be accumulating. Go back a little further here, the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour all in oversold. This was at the end of September. I really want to see something like this. And again, we could possibly be right here. Move up, push down. How does this compare to the February, March 2020 drop? I mean, it does compare. Let me go to SPX. All right, so let me go to a daily. How does this compare? And to try and compare, so we had right here, it doesn't even really compare yet because, you know, really, we haven't dropped a whole lot. So we're at like what, 38.85? Is that where we're at right now? You know, we're really only about right here. And it's not a huge gap down. We had a really big gap here. What was our gap? Right here to right there. It was a 2.24% gap on that move there. Like, yeah, it would look like we created a bit of a top there. And we just go ahead and extend this guy out because I actually think this is going to be an important trend line moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the size of that. This trend line should be pretty important. If we hit that, I would say that we're probably going to push up. January, so this was our time in December, sorry, not December, September and October. Yeah, I would say if we do find ourselves all the way back down here, 37.72, that would be a good place to be buying, as it has been a good place to be buying. And this is based off of this high here, this high here, this high here, this high here. So if we come back down here, I would say that'd be good for buying. But in my opinion, right now, it doesn't compare. I think a lot of people are going to be quick to say, oh, the time is exactly the same, right? So we fell February 21st. And right now, this is February, today's the 23rd. So the timing is the same. So a lot of people are going to be jumping to conclusions that we're going to see another one of these. And I don't think we are. I really don't. I don't think we are. So I would say that the dip today is actually for buying. I'm not going to be taking any new positions except for the SPXL. And let's take a look at NASDAQ. All right. So going to the hourly, we've gone below our stop, so I'm not going to take this trade. I'm not going to take this trade. We were talking about potentially getting into TQQQ when we hit 13,300. We're not taking that trade. We went way too deep here. So it does look like this is the completion of a 1. How deep have we gone? Let's put the 1, the 0, and let's put the 786, and let's put the 887 on here. So we came to the 786, which would be a good candidate for a wave 2. I'm not going to be going long on NASDAQ because NASDAQ has looked weaker. Oh man, but I'm looking at waves, and this is looking so good to be buying. I don't know that I would buy TQQQ. I might just buy the regular Qs, just QQQ. And let's just see what this would look like. If we were to buy, let's go to QQQ chart because this doesn't look bad, to be honest. I mean, yeah, the dip is crazy. The dip is crazy. But let's see what happens if we buy here 316. Our stop loss would be right here, which would be 1.14%. That would be at this low. Now, are we going to hit that? I'm not sure. I would be interested in buying down here. I'm not going to blindly buy. I'm going to try and make an educated purchase. down here. And what I'll probably do is at the bell, I'll make a decision whether or not I'm willing to buy yet. I am interested in buying. I'm interested in buying for somewhat longer term on QQQ or TQQQ. Haven't decided yet. I am interested in buying down here. Um, let's take a look at one thing. Trend-based fib extension from the top to this bottom. Do the pullback. You know, we have really just come down so far. It does lead me to believe that we are going to go lower. If I did take the trade, because we've gone all the way down here to the 175, I do think that we probably will go lower. I do think we will. Let's just take a look and see what UVXY is doing. Probably gapping up a little bit. So Waves indicator was talking about buying here, but it also talked about buying here and here and here. We did get a little bounce, and we're getting this bounce again here. I'd really like to see UVXY go above 10, and really it needs to get above these prices. And if it did that, then we would be getting these lower prices on QQQ and potentially on SPY. Yeah, so I'm really conflicted right now if you haven't noticed. QQQ, now on the Qs, the 12-hour or really the daily on this one, because this isn't a 24/7 asset. So on the daily, the 12-hour or the red wave is still saying that we've got more downside. And based on this, if we've got this as the start of a downward move, we've got this 1, 2, 3, go up for the 4, maybe gap fill, then we go down here for this 5. That's going to be at 308. What would this look like on NASDAQ? Let's try and see if we can find a correlation to this. So if this was actually the finish of a move, let's just remove that. Let's just say this finished a move. Okay, so I can see this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, expanded flat into the 2. Then we go down here for this 3, 4, 5. Let's just take a look at this from a different perspective, because technically we have fallen out of our channel. Just trying to put my bear goggles on here for a moment. Up here at the top for the 2, down here at the bottom for the 3. We would be looking for this wave 4, and that was actually pretty good there. Wave 4 there at the 382 at 13,239. And then our downside target, let's put that negative 236 on here. Basically 12,766. And that would be basically a retest of this low over here, which actually opens us up for a pretty significant head and shoulders, if that did happen, right? So if we saw the price from here do a bounce up here and we don't overtake that, there, that would just basically have created, you know, our left shoulder, our head, and then we go for the right shoulder. A, B, C. Stop there at the 50, pull back, we go up there, we get our right shoulder. If this happens, right, obviously again, price action has not confirmed any of this. Let's put our measured move on this. If we came all the way down here, that would indicate that we're going to be going all the way down to 11,600. If that happened. I'm not going to say it's not possible, because it's absolutely possible. And at 11,600, let's extend this guy out. This is, yeah, no, this is definitely possible for us to come down here. That would be a pretty significant pullback. But if we do get that, and we do get that right shoulder, and we do come down, yeah, I can see us coming somewhere down here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm measuring the top of the head to the neckline, which currently the neckline is this level right here. This is, that's basically the area that you should probably flip short. That level right there is pretty darn important. If we close a daily below that, I would only look at shorts. Now I am going to be looking for shorts today. I'm not going to be doing it at the open because I do think that we're going to bounce a little bit here at the open. I'll probably be exiting equity positions, and I'll be looking to get back in down here if we do come down here. But all in all, I do have to have a little bit of a bearish bias on things. You know, our strategy hasn't been working for probably a better part of maybe 2 weeks now. So you know, we did have a a small case where it was working. It didn't work obviously here. It hasn't been working so far just quite yet. There is one more scenario here on NASDAQ I do want to entertain. So just again, keeping an eye on that. One thing that we have seen quite a few times, is it possible that this is the 4 here? I'm going to remove this. I'm going to measure something just to see what this measurement looks like. Do we have an expanded flat here? Pull that guy up there. Did we hit the 100? We did. Let me get my regular. There we go. We did hit the 100. That's interesting. So this is also very possible because we've seen this before. A, B, C. This is very possible that we have an expanded flat here and that we actually are bottoming. That's very interesting. I don't think the S&P looks like this. No, it doesn't look like this at all. The S&P is looking much, much stronger compared to NASDAQ, but NASDAQ does look like it put in an expanded flat. So that's interesting that they are not they're not the same. They don't look the same. I mean, obviously they're pulling, but NASDAQ has pulled so much further than the S&P. So we've got here, this would be the A, the B, and I think this went too high for an expanded flat. Let's measure this here for a moment. Did we get an expanded flat here? A, get my Elliott template on here. And I'm going to have to put the negative 382. And let me draw this backwards. From the bottom to the top there. That negative 382 is at 39.44. We got up to 39.58. Little overthrow. I believe this was in, yes, this was in after hours, right? So this again was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, where we had this rejection. It did open below that 382, if I remember right. So it's possible. Is it possible? So let's pull our trend-based fib extension. We've got our top here. We've got our bottom right here. This would be pretty deep. This would require us to come down much deeper. I mean, really, if S&P did what NASDAQ did, S&P would be at 375. At 375. And it's not there. And it doesn't look like it wants to go there. It really looks like we're bottoming here. So we've got about 39 minutes before the market opens. Let's see what futures does. right? So we've got, all the Robinhood traders are going to have the ability to unload their positions here in about 9 minutes. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic right here. So I'm not going to exit positions at the open. I'm going to be looking to find some short positions. I'm not going to be looking for S&P to come all the way down here, but I'm going to be looking for some insurance policies today. So it's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be fun if we catch this right. So I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait for things to happen. But I am probably going to be looking for some buys on SPY and on the Qs. I'm going to be looking for shorting on some weaker assets and kind of going from there. I'm not going to make any decisions on our currently open positions on this YouTube video. I'll be doing that here a little bit later. I did have a request to take a look at Reef, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that, and then I'm going to go ahead and end it after this. So Reef, yeah, I mean, it looks okay. Let me go to a daily here. Oh, this is too new for me to really say. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it did a bullish retest of this this back here. I would say the most important level for Reef is going to be this level right here, which is at what, 236. That's an interesting price point. That's an important fib level. Also this level right here. And I'm pulling these off of the daily. And look at all of this price action that just had a lot of agreement right there. And that's at 21, or really 2.123 cents. So I would say Reef looks okay. I would try and get in a little bit lower if you could, somewhere down here. Basically what we had, this first opening candle, we had price agreement right there, and then we had continued price agreement in this range. So if it broke down below this, if we had a daily close below 21,237, I would say it's probably going to, at a minimum, come back down here to this price agreement, then finally at this price range. So those are the levels that I would be watching out for on Reef. And this is all just going to be based on the very limited price history that we've got. The waves indicator, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. It would support one more move down. It would support one more move down. But it doesn't look terrible. The problem with crypto is its volatility. You've got, I mean, what would your stop loss be on this? 22%. That's too risky for me. 22% is too much of a loss. I would have to be taking much smaller positions in order for that to be really worth taking the trade here. But if you did get a trade down here, well, then that's a little more reasonable. If you can even put in a bid, back down here, you can put your stop loss somewhere along here, and now we're only talking about 7.5% instead of like 20 to 25%. And then you could reasonably take that up, 30, 35%. I wouldn't take it from here though, because if you take it from there, you're really talking about a 13% gain for a 23% risk. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's not even a one-to-one win to a risk to reward ratio. You'd want to get this down here a little bit lower. You'd still want to have your stop loss set somewhere down here, but if you can get in lower, well, there you go. Now you're talking like 4-to-1 ratio, 3-to-1, 2-to-1 even. 2-to-1. That's still 13% loss, but you're at least looking at potential for a 28% gain. All right, guys. I think that's it for right now. I've got a lot of research that I need to be doing here. So if this video did help in any way, shape, or form, of course, as you all know, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and of course, wherever you are in the world.